Imagine this. You are sitting in a sports bar, maybe halfway across the world from Buenos Aires, and the moment that goal goes in, you are on your feet, screaming, arms raised, tears sliding down your face. You have never been to Argentina. You do not speak Spanish. You were born and raised in Lagos or Manchester or Jakarta. People watching you assume this is just passion, just excitement, just the electricity of the game. But the truth is, something far deeper is happening inside you, something that has almost nothing to do with football and almost everything to do with who you believe you are. Today we are talking about the psychology of people who fight fiercely for a sports team that is not theirs by birth, not theirs by country, and yet feels more theirs than almost anything else in their lives. Welcome back. We are the Mind Lab. Let us break this down. Here is what is strange about this phenomenon when you look at it honestly. You are watching people you have never met competing in a country you may never visit for a trophy that will sit in someone else's building. And yet your heart is hammering. Your hands are shaking. A loss will ruin your week. A win will make you feel invincible. The casual observer calls this irrational. Psychologists call it something else entirely, and the explanation runs much deeper than love of the game. The foundation of this entire experience is a concept called social identity theory, developed by the psychologist Henry Tajfel. The idea is simple but profound. Human beings do not just have personal identities, the self you know as your name, your job, your private story. They also build social identities, the self that exists through membership in groups. And here is the critical part. Your brain treats your group's success as your own success. When Argentina wins, your brain does not register a stranger's victory. It registers yours. This is why the feeling is not vicarious. It is direct. It is visceral. The neurons firing in your reward system when Messi lifts a trophy are not so different from the ones that fire when you yourself accomplish something meaningful. Your brain has written the team into your identity, and now their fate is your fate. But why Argentina? Why Portugal? Why not the team from your own city, your own country? This is where it gets genuinely fascinating. The choice of a foreign team is rarely random. It is almost always rooted in a moment, a story, a player who represented something you needed to believe in at a particular point in your life. You were 12 and you first saw Ronaldo move across a screen with a kind of hunger that mirrored your own. You were grieving or lost or invisible, and something about that team's underdog energy matched the feeling living inside your chest. The team became a container for something you could not quite name. Psychologists call this ParaSocial bonding, the attachment we form to people or groups we observe but never directly interact with. Defined plainly, it means your emotional investment is real even though the relationship is entirely one-sided. The team does not know you exist, but your nervous system does not care about that asymmetry. Now consider what happens in a stadium or even a sports bar full of strangers wearing the same colors. You are chanting the same words. You are breathing in the same tension. You are rising and falling together. This triggers what psychologists call collective effervescence, a term first used by the sociologist Emile Durkheim to describe the electrifying sense of unity that pulses through a crowd engaged in shared ritual. Defined plainly, it is the feeling of losing the boundary between yourself and the group, of becoming something larger than your individual body. It feels sacred because in a neurological sense it is. You belong, you are known, you are part of something that matters, and you did not have to earn it with credentials or achievements. You only had to choose a side. This is why the fighting happens. When someone mocks Argentina, they are not insulting a football squad. They are insulting you. They are threatening the group identity you have woven into your self-concept. The aggression that rises in your chest is not disproportionate from your brain's perspective. It is exactly proportionate to the size of the psychological investment. Threat the group, threaten the self. The equation is that simple and that powerful. There is also something worth naming about the geography of these loyalties. People who adopt foreign teams are often, though not always, people who feel some degree of alienation from the identity assigned to them at birth. Maybe your national team's story does not excite you. Maybe you grew up between cultures. Maybe you were searching for a mythology larger than your immediate surroundings, and football, with its global reach and its almost theatrical drama, offered one. The adopted team becomes a kind of chosen homeland. Not on a map of meaning. So where does this begin? Not in adulthood, not in a bar. It begins in childhood, in the developmental period when the human brain is urgently asking one question above all others: where do I belong? Children do not yet have the language for identity. They have feelings, images, heroes. They need figures who embody possibility, who demonstrate that transformation is real, that effort and genius and heart can lift a person from nothing into legend. For a child watching Messi for the first time, the response is not intellectual. It is primal. That man is doing something I want to be true about the world. And when you attach to a team as a child, or even as a young adult in a moment of psychological need, that attachment calcifies. It becomes part of the architecture of who you are, not a preference you hold loosely, but a conviction you defend. Now, if you recognize yourself in all of this, here is what matters. There is nothing irrational about what you feel. There is nothing embarrassing about defending a team that is not yours by flag. Your brain has done exactly what human brains have done since before civilization: found a tribe, assigned meaning to it, and protected it. You can hold this understanding with some self-compassion. Notice when the defensiveness spikes and ask what it is actually protecting. Not the team, some part of you. Ask what that part needs and whether football is the only place it gets to breathe. If you have a friend or a partner who baffles you with this intensity, share this with them. Not to explain them to themselves, but to explain them to you. You do not cheer for a team. You cheer for a version of yourself you needed to believe was possible. If you have ever felt that electricity watching a flag that is not yours rise on a screen, let us know in the comments. And if someone in your life has always puzzled you with this kind of passion, send this their way. It might be the most direct explanation they have ever received. Thank you for spending this time thinking with us. Subscribe to keep exploring the hidden logic beneath ordinary human experience, and we will see you in the next one.